Hi, I'm John Janicek, and this is my action research project. It deals with reading comprehension. Now, the area of focus for my study is improving reading comprehension through the use of evidence-based text-dependent questions. Now, without a solid foundation of this reading skill, I feel students will struggle with reading fiction and nonfiction text throughout their life. Here's the research question that I used for my study. Will the use of evidence-based text-dependent questions during classroom read-alouds improve comprehension? The setting for my research is my 5th grade class here at Fulton Elementary School in Chandler, Arizona. Now, the class consists of 28 students, 16 females, 12 males, for a total of 28 students. And 2 of the students have IEPs. For my study, I'm going to divide the class into 2 groups. I'm going to have Group A, and that's going to consist of 8 females and 6 males, and 1 of them with an IEP. And Group B will also consist of 8 females and 6 males, along with 1 student who has an IEP, and remember, both of them are boys. Now, what's going to happen is we are going to read the book, Wholes, chapters 1 through 7. And Group A, they're going to get all the evidence-based text-dependent questions as our discussions through each chapter. Group B will have discussions, but they're going to have the non-text dependent questions. I will be combining 2 methods of study. I'm going to use qualitative and I'm going to use quantitative measures of study. Now, the qualitative will be with both groups. That'll be the text-dependent questions and the non-text dependent questions. Quantitative is going to deal with the assessment that they're both going to take. It's the same assessment at the end. For students, I'm highly encouraged that student comprehension will get better along with their writing and vocabulary skills. Now, this is going to lead to their enthusiasm for reading. And for teachers, this is going to be a motivating factor for them to adopt measures of new reading strategies and skills for the improvement and instruction of reading. And for parents, I think this skill is going to really help their child at home, because when the child reads to the parent, they can ask text-dependent questions and make the child show them where they're finding this in a book, improving their reading comprehension, and the parents will love it. School administrators and supervisors, I think, are going to love it, because reading comprehension scores are going to soar. And they're going to want to train teachers in how to ask these text-dependent questions. And you can do that. You can facilitate some workshops and really train the teachers in how to ask those text-dependent questions with fiction and with nonfiction. And now the exciting part. I'd like to show you this in action. First, what I want to show you is a teacher asking text-dependent questions, evidence-based, having that discussion. Let me tell you, when you have that kind of discussion in your lit studies, your children, your students, they're going to want to come to reading. They're going to enjoy reading. They're going to...
I'm so excited. I'm pretty sure in real life he would have gotten that. On a math test, and my mom would freaking.
Now, you guys, we had some homework last night. We had Jessica starting us off today with some great reading. Let's talk a little bit about what we read last night. Now, we're talking about the judge sending Stanley to Camp Green Lake. So, find the evidence in your text to describe the Stanley Yelnats that the judge gets to know.
Page 6.
Page 6. Everybody, let's check out page 6, please. Okay?
Well, basically, the judge thinks that he's a thief and that he stole shoes for charity. So not only did he just steal, he stole something that was gonna benefit a lot of kids in the orphanage. I think that's where they were.
Yep.
And so he sees him as a delinquent, and that he's a bad kid, even though we know.
Yeah, Josh.
On page 21 to 22.
Oh, 21 to 22. Everybody?
It says vaguely in the text evidence that people might have a hard time trusting him because since the judge convicted him,
right?
It automatically says that he will be stealing shoes, and Stanley will continue to feel sorry for himself because everyone thinks he stole the shoes.
Exactly. He's going to feel guilty, and Stanley's going to be like, oh, I feel sorry.
Page 41.
41, everybody. Okay?
He says, well, it says Stanley wants to keep it for himself, and he finds it, but he really wants to time off also, but he ends up doing
that. The first teacher you saw, he asked some questions. The second teacher has the same questions, except they're not text dependent. So you're going to see the difference. And Now, this isn't necessarily a bad teacher. This happens because maybe you run out of time. You're doing a literature study and you look at the clock and you have to get through the book. So the teacher starts to read himself so they can go faster. And the questions become more yes, no, and quick questions. Are you comprehending? You getting this?
Yeah, but I thought that...
Boys and girls, we are reading Holes. You had an assignment last night. I want to ask some questions just to see what kind of responses we got from our reading last night. Question number 1, I want to ask you, where does the judge send Stanley? Lady?
Camp Green Lake.
Camp Green Lake, right? Come on, calm down there. Camp Green Lake. Good. Number 2, does the judge like Stanley? Yes.
No, Judge doesn't like Stanley.
Right, judge doesn't like Stanley. You're right. Good job, Heather. Number 3, will Stanley's life get better or worse because of the judge's decision to send him to Camp Green Lake? Justin?
Worse.
Worse, that's right. Does everybody agree? Yeah? That's good. It is worse. You're right. Hey, you. Chapter 7. Let's go, everybody. The vibrations ran up the shaft of the shovel and into Stanley's wrists, making his bones rattle.
Is that even possible?
Come on, I'm reading, okay? It was still dark. So going forward, I strongly believe that the students who took the assessments 1 through 7, who had the evidence-based text-dependent questions, are going to score much higher in their reading comprehension. So non-text dependent questions, they will no doubt generate conversation in the classroom. The only problem is the conversation is not going to be deep. It's not going to be evidence-finding. I am a teacher that is proud to use the evidence-based text-dependent questions. I use them in my literature studies, I use them in social studies and science, my nonfiction, and my principal is very proud of that fact because just a couple days ago, I got a call from her and our AIM scores came in and I had the highest reading scores than I've ever had before. And I was really hitting this past year with my text-dependent questions in everything I was doing. Writing scores increased, I was very proud. I know this can work, and I think teachers all over the world should apply these methods.